Hey everybody, I'm back after only like a day or two since my last video. And in my last video, I talked a lot about that event that was targeted against the LGBTQ community, that shooting and everything. And, my thoughts on it and all that. Today, I'm going to talk a lot about my personal experiences where I was targeted strictly for being trans and everything. And I also have a guest with me, the person who spends the most time out of anybody in the world with me, my
He's
oldest
right.
son, Jason.
Hi, everybody.
He wanted to make a little bit of an entrance and everything. So, now just to let you know, Monkey, of course you can't cuss or nothing like that, but you can speak freely, tell the truth, tell your honest feelings,
Alright.
tell your honest thoughts. You won't get in no trouble on or off camera. I don't mean to involve him in adult topics. It's just that he's been there and actually witnessed me go through things. He's witnessed me crying after the fact of things that I've gone through. And it's actually bothered him a lot to watch me go through these things. And I know I'm sort of a minority inside of a minority, because not all that many trans people actually have biological children of their own. And not a lot of kids watch their parents transition at an age to where they're old enough to understand the concept of it. And basically, it could provide some insight to maybe a kid out there who wants to understand their parent better, or a person out there who wants to know how to handle situations with their child better. Of course, every kid's different, every person's different. Buddy, you are acting like you just drank some coffee or something. Just stay in the camera. But yeah, hopefully it'll help somebody out there out, and it'll also let you guys know personal things that I've been through. I've already talked about most of them in previous videos, but this is a good way to cover it with a close family member, the closest family member I have in the world. Because this boy is always around me. So, I don't know where to start out. I guess I'll just ask which event bothered you the most out of everything I've been through? Here, sit back here with me, because, my cell phone is cheaply made and the camera is not the best. So,
Anyways,
sorry, guys.
The one that bothered me the most has to be the hidden level games.
Oh, yeah. This was this place called Hidden Level Games in my hometown in New Jersey. And this place, it's a small business. It's sort of like a GameStop, to compare it, the setup and everything, and the size. And there's usually only one guy in there that's working in there. And they sell old Pokemon cards from the original series, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, games from even old game systems like Super Nintendo or Sega or whatever. And I would bring my two sons, him and my son Lucas, in there all the time. Now, I normally didn't have problems, because the normal guy who would ring us up, he was alright and everything. But then one day the owner was working there, and the owner immediately was giving me bad vibes the way he was looking at me. I didn't say a word to this man. I really didn't. I didn't say a single word to him. But for some reason, he gave me bad vibes. If you're trans, when people give you what I call the look. And it's that look of disapproval, basically. You always know it when you get it. And he definitely gave me the look. But I thought that's where it would end, because I was a regular customer there. I've invested a lot of money in this place. And next time I go in there was a few days later. And every time I've been in that store basically was with my sons because I would go in there for them. And I hear from the guy who normally rings us up. He's like, "I'm sorry, but you're banned from here permanently. My boss told me that you can't be allowed in here anymore." He said I was like causing a disturbance or something like that. And I'm like, "Disturbance?" I didn't say a word to him. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I gotta enforce what my boss tells me to do." And it's a small business, so there was really nothing I could do to prove one way or the other. And my only witnesses were a 7 and a 9-year old. So, like, there wasn't much I could do. But I was permanently banned from this business that I would take my kids to, just strictly because this guy didn't approve that I would dress completely feminine. Like, I mean, I normally dress a lot more feminine than I am now. Right now, we're getting ready for bed, and I'm just in my shorts and my tank top, and, you know, I'm not all, like, crazy made up, but I present feminine 24/7, so, I mean, even sometimes I wear dresses and stuff like that. I'm not ashamed. I mean, I shouldn't have to be ashamed just to dress a certain way. And then remember, Grandma went in there to confront him with you and Lucas. And my mom had asked why I was thrown out of the place, and he had made up some craziness like...
Yup, he made up that he had camera proof.
Yeah, what he's... You're a little bit out of frame again.
Alright.
Yeah. What did he say I did again? I forget. Like, because I wasn't in there when they had all talked.
He said that he had camera proof of you stealing and stuff like that, but if I were Grandma, I'd at least have to see the camera proof.
Yeah, and my mom actually... yeah, like, I told her she should have asked for the camera proof of that. Also, the way this store is set up, like I said, similar to a GameStop. They don't have the games in the front. They just have the cases. Their Pokemon cards are right there in the like glass. Yeah, in the glass and in the book, and right there on the desk, right next to the person. There's nothing that you can really steal out of that place like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, it didn't make sense. And either way, you were right there with me. You know that I didn't take nothing.
And he also said that you were stumbling around.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I don't even get that part.
Me neither.
For another thing, that part of town, people go in places high as a kite or drunk as hell on real things. Like, you know, hardcore things. And... that happens all the time. They never get banned permanently. And you were there with me. I was not like that in any way, shape, or form. Like, I mean, like I said, you could speak as freely as you want. And he was making up all these different stories. It's like his story kept changing. First, it was I was stealing. Then it was, oh, I acted like I was under the influence of something. I mean, maybe he was talking about how I tend to, like, you know, walk a little funny sometimes because I had that pelvic bone injury. You know how I had surgery, but...
in the car accident?
Because I know that can make me tend to stagger from time to time. Like, that happens to me pretty often, but I don't get it. And, I don't know. But, so that bothered you the most out of everything. You remember I was crying pretty bad, too. Like...
that one was, like, the worst I've ever seen you cry.
Yeah, because, like, I had only went in there ever just for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm actually about to get emotional just thinking back on it. I'd only done that for them, and there was nothing I could do to actually prove one way or the other. And either way, even if I could prove it, why am I going to put more money in this man's pocket if he's the one that owns the place? I was like, okay, we're just not going to go here no more. Screw it, you know? Like, I don't know. I mean, name another incident that bothered you a lot
The CVS guy.
Oh, the good old CVS guy. This guy is like a manager, too. He's like the store manager.
Alright, no, we gotta start off where he originally worked, though.
Oh, he worked at the other CVS, but he hasn't really started bothering me until, like, I started transitioning. He's always been, like, he sort of dresses like what you would call ghetto or hood, whatever, and he, like, acts kind of street acting, you know, but somehow he landed a manager position. This guy can't be any older than his 20s, and this guy will harass me left and right, like, and
remember that time we went in CVS not that long ago? It was a little
yeah, we went in there with Lucas and Grandma.
Last month.
Yo, you know, in them movies where the movies that where someone looks to the front and the person's there in front of them, they look to the side, the person's on the side, they look behind them, the person's behind them. It was one of them kind of situations.
Bro, alright, so...
He was everywhere that we went. We tried to, like, take a corner, and he would take a corner in the other way to, like, still be facing us from the front.
Oh my goodness. I remember this one time.
You're not really in frame.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry. Well,
I remember this one time when this is how I actually caught him looking at us. So we were walking down the aisle, right? So he turned. Then after that, he walks right by us with this other guy.
Yeah,
right?
he kept walking right by us everywhere we went.
I turned around looking at him because I never saw him before. So I turned around to go look at him, but then I see him turning his head back. That's how I caught him doing it.
Yeah,
And then when we went to check out, when he was scanning
he kept
it
looking up
he
at
was
me.
like,
Instead of looking at Grandma, who he was actually ringing up was my mom. He kept, like, 1 second he's looking down, next second he's looking at me.
Like,
kept looking at me. Kept looking at me, like, 10 times over and over again. Like, this guy, I've had previous problems with him where he said things like, oh, you'll always be a man, I don't care what you dress like, you know, you're butt ugly and all these other things. He would say, like, what are you gonna do? Do you not see my picture on the outside? Like he's the president or something, just because he's the manager of the CVS in town. Like, oh, my picture's outside. What can you possibly do about it? I mean, I really gotta start just, like, wearing, like, a body cam on me or something like that so I could prove that these events
you gotta put a camera in your hair.
Yeah,
or I could do it. I got fluffy hair.
I mean...
Not fluffy, but...
But yeah, nothing really happened that serious other than him making me feel awkward and him saying things to me when no one else was around. And yeah, he definitely tended to harass me a lot. And yeah, so name another event. Scoot a little closer to me.
I mean,
so that
name one because I can't really think of any. Those were the two recentest ones.
Well, you weren't there when I went to that place to, like, that facility that I had to check myself in for 7 to 10 days to work on my mental health, get therapy and stuff like that. And when they had thrown me out with them outrageous accusations and stuff, like, and they didn't even have any evidence whatsoever. Like, they're basically just people. They told me people were uncomfortable with me being there, and that one person had even said that I was, like, sexually harassing them. Oh, it never fails. People always have to make it a sexual thing just because I guess what I'm doing involves what's between my legs. So, of course, we have to make it a sexual thing. But, yeah, he only knows about this because he knew that I was in that place, and then he saw me being emotional for quite some time after this. I literally had to call crisis lines because of the fact that they had thrown me out. I went to this place for help, and I've actually made a previous video like this where I was still breaking down after the fact to try and expose them. It was called Seabrook, And if you want to look up my previous videos from several months ago, I'm sure it's there. And I mean, my kids, the rest of my family, my friends, even his mom knew right away that I was not the type of person to do any of the things that people were making me out to be. And also, so what if people are uncomfortable? You know, maybe they're making me uncomfortable, singling me out left and right. Doesn't that matter for anything? Like, they're uncomfortable. So what? Maybe they should learn to get comfortable and be comfortable. Judge someone by their character, not what they wear. How about that, you know? Because I don't do anything to make people uncomfortable. Like, I'm always as nice and, like, sympathetic and empathetic as possible with people, unless they're very rude to me. So, yeah, like, what did you think of that whole event? And you saw me aftermath, because obviously you couldn't be in there with me because it was an inpatient facility. But what did you think of the aftermath?
I saw you crying a lot, but like, I forget a bunch of the story because it was a long time ago that you told me it. I mean, not that long. I mean, a couple of months ago, probably. But
Yeah, it was a couple months ago, I'd say. You're out of camera altogether,
oh
buddy.
my goodness.
Well, that's why you gotta sit back here.
Alright, yeah. So, well, he was just lying about the whole place because everyone knew you wouldn't be the type to do that.
I mean, and the thing is, like, it wasn't even the therapist actually felt bad for me and tried to protest this, but this was like a decision that came from the high up to have me just tossed out of there early by like a couple of days, and it broke my heart, man, because even the therapists and most of the workers there were on my side. And that's the thing, that I had a petition from people, that several people had signed it, saying I would never do this kind of thing, and that I don't do nothing to bother anybody. And I was one of the nicest people in there. And I don't know, like, people just get bothered, like, about me existing, basically, nowadays. And it messes me up mentally, but I still hold myself together because obviously I have people that do accept me for who I am, like you. But can you think of anything else, like any major events, like other than people just saying simple small things and stuff like that?
Not really.
Like, I mean, you're out of camera again, buddy.
Oh my goodness!
Well, 'cause
I
you're all the
keep on
way
getting
over-
out of camera.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to make room for you. I mean, I'll ask you, like, from a kid's point of view, watching your parent be treated like that, like what goes through your mind? Because we have a very close bond, of course,
Alright. I just think that a lot of people are just bigots towards trans people. That's
yeah,
how the
it's
world
like,
is.
in my opinion, you know, of course, a lot of minorities and groups get discriminated against, and I don't take nothing away from them, but I feel like you can't hide being trans, for one thing. It's not like being gay or bisexual or something. It's like, I obviously ain't at the point in my transition to where I could pass yet as a female and only tell people that I want to tell. So basically, it's like I might as well have it tattooed on my forehead that I'm trans. You know what I'm saying? Or, like, whatever. But, yeah, I feel like they look at it like worse than being gay. They look at it like you're a freak of nature or something like that. Or like you're some kind of creepy, like, sexual predator or something like that. Like, that's the vibe I get from it personally. And, like, I mean, obviously I've never been none of those things. Like, I'm not even gay or nothing. I'm into females, but
Yeah.
this is more of a self-image and like lifestyle thing that I'm working on, and I'm doing this for myself and my mental health. But people don't make it any easier when they do things like that. You know what I mean? Because you know me. What do I do with my life? All I do is just spend time with you boys at home and just stay to myself.
Yeah.
I don't go out places. I don't party. I don't have any significant others or nothing like that. Like, I mean, I just stay to myself, and I'm there for you boys and everything. And I mean, people that all know me, like the ones that know me and everything, have accepted me, but it's the ones that don't know me that is every day. I swear I wake up feeling like I don't know what kind of drama is going to happen next time I go out, like, but at the same time, I don't want these people to win, and I don't want to, like, dress guyish, like a guy every time I go out, just to not have drama, because then they win. They're getting me to basically hide my lifestyle all over again, because I'm afraid of them, and I'm not afraid of them at the end of the day, but I do hate going through this. I hate you boys having to see this. At such a young age, you and Lucas should not have to see these things. And there are people out there that would probably blame me. But no, I'm not the problem. These people are the problem. And I hope you boys always see that, because they're the problem. They need to learn to have tolerance and acceptance to those that are different than them. Judge somebody by their character, nothing else. And I've taught you boys that your entire lives. And that's why you guys are so open-minded to my transition. I mean, like I've told you in the past, you are the only person in this world that not for a second did I think that you would feel any differently towards me once I came out and everything. Everyone else, I was like, okay, they're at the very least going to feel weird about this, maybe get mad at me and not talk to me for a while. I had all kinds of doubts about who would and wouldn't want to disown me. But I knew that our bond, you wouldn't care if I dressed like freaking Frankenstein or something, like, we have such a close bond. I knew that you were the only person in the world that I knew wouldn't feel any differently towards me no matter what. And I'm even getting teary-eyed just talking like this, because
I see.
It meant a lot to me. It did. It means a lot to get support from those I'm closest to. Like, when I have people treating me like this in public. And, like, a lot of people out there also, I mean, I've even gotten ignorant comments, like, how can you call yourself a parent and be doing this kind of disgusting crap in front of your kids and stuff like that, and like, oh, you should have your kids taken away from you, and, like, I mean, what do you have to say to people that would say something like that from your point of view? Because, like, I mean, I've actually been told that from people, that I should have my kids taken away from me just for being trans. Like, there ain't a bunch of trans, gay, and bi people out there that raise their kids.
Alright, well, I'm not going away without a fight.
What do you mean, like, you'd be like, you don't mean you're gonna fight them, you mean, like, you would never want to leave my side, that type of thing? But, I mean, like, what do you have to say about people that think that someone should have their kids taken away just because they dress a certain way?
Well,
or they're doing whatever with their body,
Well, it's not your body, so I don't see how it's affecting you. And just mind your own business. That's it.
The sad thing is that you're honestly, and I'm not just saying these things because you're my kid, but you're honestly more mature than a lot of adults out there. when it comes to this subject, and that's why I had you do this tape with me, because that is exactly the type of answer that anybody should say. Because I'm not enforcing this lifestyle on nobody else. I'm not going out there and saying, oh yeah, you should try it sometime, do what I'm doing. No, this is my own thing. This is my own, like, the way I want to live and view myself. And, like, nothing more than that. I would never ask you kids to follow my steps or something. Well, I don't think you would want to anyway, because you were both very masculine type of boys, like, and you're out of the camera again, by the way.
Oh, why do I keep getting out of the camera?
I think it's just habit.
I think that's like
you can't
the
stop
fifth time.
fidgeting. You always do that. You always fidget a lot when you sit. You can't sit in one spot too much. But
I'm just gonna sit right here.
Yeah, people do need to learn to mind their own business, because it's not their body. It's not, like, I'm not one of them type of people to glorify being trans and, like, try and make it sound like something people should try. I actually wouldn't wish being trans on my worst enemy unless they, like, I would only tell people to be trans if they truly feel like they're trans, or might be, or whatever. If they are truly having gender dysphoria issues, I would just tell them, go to this doctor, talk to this doctor, and if they, like, think that that's the path you should follow, then you follow it. But I would do nothing more than refer them to a doctor or therapist to talk to, because it's not my place to tell someone what lifestyle they should live, and I am not qualified to tell them. Like, I mean, it's a very serious mental thing, that it's a very delicate issue with, like, people that really have that issue. But, and then you're gonna lay back on your big chair.
I'm tired.
And
I'm probably gonna go to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning.
You're right? I know. But, I mean, facts are, one thing matters when it comes to raising children: the love you show them. And we got a lot of love for each other. Sorry if I got a little bit of, like, stuff on your head. But that's what matters, It's the love you show your child. The guidance you show your child. Doesn't matter how you dress. Doesn't matter what your sexuality is. Doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. And I've always taught you these things. I mean, I told you, like, say 100 years ago or so, it would have been looked down upon on you even being born, because you're a biracial child. So, like, you're half Spanish, half, well, I don't know, some people call Italian white, some people don't, but I don't know, I just call it Italian, but I mean, I act like a white person for sure, so I'd say half Spanish, half white, because people around here call Italian white. But, there was a time where having a biracial child would be looked at as, like, an abomination, and, I mean, your history well enough to know that, and it's crazy the beliefs that bigots think are actually acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Like, because some of the sweetest people in the world I know are trans and gay and lesbian and bisexual and whatnot. It's because they all know the definition of struggle. They know what it's like to be put down, and they don't want to put others down. I mean, there are bad apples in every group, don't get me wrong. I don't get along with every single one of them. But most of them are very sweet, kind-hearted people, because they don't want to put others down like their self has been put down by society, by bigots like this. And it's just wrong. But, is there anything else you want to add to your thoughts on the way that bigots act and everything? What do you think of that Club Q shooting, actually? Like, I mean, you know that's been in the news and everything.
It has?
Yeah.
Wait, where was it again?
It was in Colorado. I was just talking to you about it yesterday or whatever, remember?
Yeah, but I forget where it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was like... I mean, I know there are shootings all the time, especially where we're from. There are drive-by shootings a lot in his neighborhood where his mom lives and everything. Not too much out here, but sorry.
What I think about it is like people are just rude. Like, people don't accept.
That's beyond rude. That's just flat out evil.
I know.
And he did it the day before Transgender Remembrance Day too.
Yeah, and he like why would he do that? Them people have families. Some of them probably have kids.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I don't know about having kids because they were all young people, but they had families. Not even all of them were LGBTQ. The one guy, it was the boyfriend of the girl that was the daughter of the guy who took the gunman down.
Uh-huh.
And it's sad. These things happen every day in our country. This is supposed to be a country where all are created equal, where we all have a diversity of cultures. That's supposed to be one of the beautiful things about this country. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That we have such a diversity of cultures. And instead of coming together, people want to keep us segregated. Like this is 100 years ago. There's still some people out there that live that way. But I've seen videos of this man's father, and I can kind of see why he was so twisted and psychotic. Because his father is an absolute train wreck. And there's going to be a ripple effect of how their families are upset about this issue. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it's sad that people are dying every day in this country because of these things. Like, you think of any other subjects that would be good to touch on? I mean, can you think of anything?
No. I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah, as far as my personal experience is the worst of them, at least. Because, I mean, I get insulted. You see how often people send me harassment messages and stuff like that.
On YouTube, it's crazy.
Yeah, right? I try and delete as many comments as possible.
And then you try to block their accounts. They just spend time to make new ones.
Yeah.
I mean, they're losing because they're wasting their time.
You know what, though? I always say, in 50 years, there's going to be a lot more people that think the way I do and a lot less people that think the way they do, because history is already proof. Bigots can win certain battles, but they always lose the war in the end. You know what I mean? Because, like, think of history, like, for example, when black people were put down, or, like, when the Holocaust happened, where the Jews, like Hitler and everything, like, the bigots always lose the war. They always do. I mean, Spanish people have been discriminated against. So, yeah. I mean, you can name any culture pretty much, and it's been discriminated against at one point or another. But the bigots always lose in the end. But there's always them few that linger around, and they do these kind of things. Like I said, it's very rough because there ain't too many transgender people out there. You know, nowadays there are a lot of ethnicities out there and stuff, and it's a big mixture of cultures. But there ain't too many transgender people that live openly and stuff, so I don't have too many people like me to have my back around here. You know what I mean? But, I mean, how has this affected you, though? Like, would you say, like, because we have such a close bond, I mean...
I just think it's wrong for people to do that. I mean, you're still a person, you shouldn't be treated any less.
Yeah, because, people used to show me so much respect.
Yeah.
People even sort of used to fear me, even though I was never rude to them, but they knew that if they came at me wrong, that I would, I wouldn't just stand there and take it. And, like, nowadays, it's like a free-for-all or something. And it's like, wow, I still have the same soul, you know what I mean? Like, it's a messed up thing, and I feel bad that you boys have to see these kind of things. Like I said, I would change it if I could. I mean, one day, we've had talks about these things several times, and one day I'll get to the point where where I'll only tell people that I want to know about my business, that I trust enough like that, and it won't be so bad. But this is definitely the worst of it, because I still ain't at the point where I can pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the important thing is that I have you, I have your brother, I have several other family members and friends that don't look at me any differently. And you guys are what counts. And I'll always be there for you. As long as I'm breathing air, I'm always going to be there for you. Even as a ghost after I'm dead, I'll probably still be haunting you. I'll probably be waking you up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. Monkey! Something like that. I always call him Monkey. Just for the record. Like, those of you who wonder why I say that term all the time. It's a term I've used for many years. But yeah.
I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much covers everything.
Yep.
I wanted to bring you in on the video because, like, that way, because it's a unique situation. Like I said, it's a very few kids out there that watch their parent transition, watch their parent get discriminated against, all these other things. Mm-hmm. Maybe it'll help some kid out there know how to handle it better, or, like, maybe it'll help some parent out there try and, like, handle it better with their child and know how to talk to their kid about it, or something like that. But you handle things better than most kids do. I think it's just because you live in a rough area where mommy lives at, and, like, that's a bad neighborhood and stuff. I mean, well, not too many places around here are good neighborhoods, but
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you've been exposed to a lot for someone your age. I mean, definitely a lot more than I would like you to have been exposed to, no doubt about that. But, buddy, like, I really appreciate you doing this video with me, being honest with me, and I'm sure that other people out there will appreciate your opinion too. Like, I mean, I know you never mind your camera time anyway.
I really do not.
You're not in the camera, of course, again.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's because you can't stay in one spot. I swear, this boy has ADHD.
Anyways, I'm out. Bye, everybody.
Well, you didn't even look at the camera. You gotta look at the camera more often when you say things.
Bye.
Love you, bud.
Love you.
Love you more.
Love you more.
Anyways, I hope you guys all appreciated the video and my son giving his honest opinion, which I did not. I swear to this on everything I love. I did not coach him into saying nothing. I mean, we both spoke off of the top of our heads. We did not plan anything ahead of time. We were definitely speaking from the heart and off the top of our heads. That's how I always do things. That's probably the only reason I have as many people that watch as I do, because I definitely don't have high quality videos with my cheap phone and everything. So I guess that the fact that I do make decent points about vital issues, like, that's the only reason that you guys do watch me as much as y'all do, and I appreciate every bit of it, that those of y'all that watch me for the right reasons. Yeah, I definitely feel bad that my sons and my other loved ones have had to watch me undergo a lot of discrimination. and I would take it all away from them if I could, because I try and keep my sons as pure as possible as far as not seeing violent things or rude things happen. But they know there's evil in the world, and fortunately they're mature enough to take it, and they're mature enough to know who the real bad guy is, because some kids out there would probably blame their parent for transitioning or something like that. But these boys, thank God, they have not ever blamed me one time in their lives for being the problem, because I've given them nothing but love, obviously, and I mean, it's obviously paid off. I'm just glad that I have such awesome kids, and he really is the only person in the world that I didn't doubt it for a second that he would not leave my side when I first came out. Everybody else, even my own mom, I was having my doubts about. But even his brother, because his brother, I mean, he's close to me too, but he's a little younger, doesn't understand it quite as much, and, you know, he spends more time with my mom than me, so he tends to not understand things to a level that Jason does. So, yeah, he really is the only person that I knew would not change his opinion whatsoever, and he hasn't. And I thank God every day that I have such wonderful boys that have not looked at me no differently. They don't care whether I'm wearing a skirt, whether I'm dressed like a guy, doesn't matter to them. And that's how it should be in the world, because it's nothing more than a tire and just a body type of build or whatever, because you still have the same heart and soul, still the same person that you always were, and they know that. And I must have done something right raising them for them to know that at such a young age. I am so proud of them. I really am. And I hope other people out there, like, if anybody has questions about these things or about him, whatever, feel free to ask me. Or if anybody has questions about how to handle certain situations, of course I will give as much advice as I know how to give. But I am no therapist. I'm nothing like that at the end of the day. I will only give advice from experience and suggestions. That's all I can really truly do. I mean, I'm no miracle worker. You know, if I was a miracle worker, bigots wouldn't exist. Because we all deserve an equal opportunity to be happy in life. And that's all I'm trying to do, is just be happy with myself. Live the lifestyle I want to live. Because like I said, I've never been into like many guy things. Always been into a lot of girly things, always gossiped with the girls a lot more than guys. And that's just who I am at the end of the day. But for now, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be safe and peace out.